Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of rslash Tifu. In today's episode, Tifu by eating the entire brownie. Tifu by going to a trampoline park and participating with my 7-year-old boy. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Tifu by eating the entire brownie. A few years back I, 20s, was working at a brewery/bar/restaurant in a relatively upscale area as a bartender and server. I had just started about 2 weeks prior and was still getting to know my coworkers. At this point, I knew that one of the bussers, nicknamed Polar Bear, was never not high off his ass. As for me, I was never much into weed as I found it only made me sleepy and needed something that kept me attentive. Despite this, when Polar Bear offered me a weed brownie he'd made, I accepted. I was almost done with my shift and was planning on going to Yard House that night on a casual date. I figured I'd try the edible to keep me cool and relaxed during. Note, this was my first time trying any kind of edible, and I'm a huge fan of regular brownies. I took a little bite, and TBH it tasted almost exactly like any other brownie I'd had. So naturally, I ate the entire thing without thinking twice. No one had commented on the fact that I ate it all, and that was that. I hop in my car and about 10 minutes in I am starting to feel a little different. Maybe a bit more smiley, more into the music playing. I'm glad that I'm a few minutes away from the apartment, but don't feel anything too out of the ordinary. The girl I'm going on a date with, D, is ready to go about 20 minutes after I arrive, and I feel pretty much the same the whole ride to the restaurant. She's used to smoking, so I let her know I'd consumed an edible before we ordered drinks, and she asks if she could have a bite. Me, I'm sorry, I ate it all. D, half laughing, half concerned, you what? Please tell me you didn't really. Me, also a bit worried, yeah, I did. Was I not supposed to? D, at this point, laughing her as off, OMG, I can't believe you ate an entire wheat brownie. Buckle in, because it's going to be a long night. At this point, I for some reason decide to order a cider, as I felt it probably wouldn't make too much of a difference in the grand scheme of things. We order some kind of vegan mac and cheese if I remember correctly, along with some vegan boneless wings, and a bunch of other delicious **tea. Somewhere between getting my cider and the first appetizer, I became abruptly aware of a sudden shift in reality. It's like everything had a vignette around it. Is this what tunnel vision is? The waiter was super nice, chill. However, I started getting paranoid at his presence, especially when I had to speak to him. When the mac and cheese arrived, I was not okay. We start eating. Is this the best food I've ever tasted? Damn well could be. Give Yard House their Michelin star, damn it. D had said something that made me laugh, and I literally couldn't stop laughing. I'm sure it wasn't even that funny, but for a split second I genuinely considered the possibility of me never being able to stop laughing. For a brief moment, I was seeing myself in third person and realized I was not 100% okay. I don't remember much of what happened after this, until we were about to leave. We pay the check and we are ready to leave. D gets up and I attempt to do the same, but my legs are having none of that. I tell her I can't get up from the booth, and she sits back down. D, it's okay, I'll help you. Trust me, when you're standing you'll know what to do. She pulls me by the arms like I'm some little kid and I'm standing. However, I cannot balance nor take any steps. It was crazy. I put my arm around her, and she practically carries me out like I was just injured in a sports match. Thankfully, the vehicle was parked close to the restaurant, and we are on our way back to safety. Once we get on the 5, it feels like we're going 200 miles per hour. I'm watching the billboards as we go by, and they look like they're being smeared in slow motion. It was then when I freak out and have a full-blown panic attack. I launch my knees up to my chin and feet on the seat, grabbing the center console with one hand and the safety bar with the other. I'm scared. I don't feel good. Looking back, I'd totally reverted to a childlike state. I was mentally 4-year-old me again being forced to go on Mr. Toad's wild ride. Dee somehow manages to talk me through it, and we get back to her place. I'm feeling a bit nauseous and ask her if the effects will be wearing off soon. She says it'll probably be a few more hours, and to try to eat something else. She had a lot of food, but I decided to eat all her bananas. No chance I am in any way deficient in potassium nor THC. I thankfully pass out shortly after. The next day, I still don't feel completely sober. In fact, I feel almost hungover. I head into work where I see Polar Bear. P, laughing, "How was your night?" I punch him in the arm. "You could have King told me not to eat the entire thing." P laughs even harder. I make a mental note to never accept food from him again. A week later, we have a girls' night for work and go to the same yard house. Who's our server? The same guy as the other night. As I order in front of the group of around 30 women, he cuts me off. "Hey, I remember you from the other night," he says to me while smirking. God knows what he even remembers because I sure don't. Moral of the story? Eat your edibles one bite at a time until you know your tolerance. Tifu by going to a trampoline park and participating with my 7-year-old boy. This whole thing started last Saturday, the actual Tifu happened on Sunday. The place is part of a nationwide chain or franchises. As a working single dad, weekends with my son are a special time for us. I try to make sure that we are always having adventures and go wherever the wind takes us. We both spend enough time in front of screens during the week, and I try to get us involved with physical activities outdoors. Enter the indoor trampoline park. The place is close to home, a mere 10-minute drive, reasonably priced, and the kid loves the hell out of trampolines. Oh, I was so innocent and naive on Saturday. I figured I'd be like all the other parents and just pull up a chair and mess around with my phone while my little savage bonded with others of his kind. Still, I'd glance up and see the sheer joy in his face, and it would warm my heart. What clinched it was the daddy, "This is the best day ever." I got my awesome dad strut on. It looked like a blast and he enjoyed himself. I didn't really have anything else planned for us for Sunday, so when he asked to come back then and for me to join him, how could I say no? Bond with the kid, have fun and get a workout while at it? Sign me up. Alas, I have no pictures or video of the events that transpired. As with a gym, one leaves all their valuables at a locker and just wears the key on a bracelet. Dear reader, this is not just me delivering to you the story of my F*** No. Do bear with me, this is also a cautionary PSA for all of you new parents or cool aunts/uncles or older cousins. Beware, not that it is likely to happen, but given the rare chance that someone who is definitely not going to be me invites you to one of these places, be it a birthday party or an outing with the little ones, don't do it. I swear to God that the ergonomics of this place are such that if anybody over 15 years of age tries any of this sh*t, they are going to be injured, psychologically damaged, or maybe even killed. I don't know if it is because the connected trampolines are much smaller than the traditional backyard types or what, but when an adult tries to leap from one to the next, they'll get a jarring impact to their knees, hips and spine. I mean, I tried keeping up with the boy, but every leap was just off enough that I constantly felt like I was getting kicked on the knee or like my back was compressing upon itself. The kids were fine, their smaller strides made it so that they effortlessly leaped from center to center of each trampoline in the row, their leaps graceful and whimsical, little humans playing at being fairfolk ponies, or some other crap. I tried catching my breath and to my chagrin, I watched one of the other brave/stupid dads, at least 6 foot tall, and in good shape. The dude looked like he runs or plays sports very often. No dad bod for sure, he was out there putting the rest of us to shame, until he face planted. You know that old gag from cartoons where someone falls on their face, and their heels look like they are going to touch the back of their head? Yeah, that. It's like he must have judged the distance wrong, or maybe being tall, he was trying to fully clear to the trampoline one space over. I just don't know what happened, but once he'd fully stopped he turned over to lay on his back until he got his sh*t together. Never one to miss a warning, I figured fine, be more careful, do something else. Let's go over to the climbing wall above the foam pit. Get there, looks like a blast, until you realize that the mandatory grip socks that the place makes you wear have none of the support of either your gym shoes or thick-soled climbing shoes you'd wear at a wall climbing gym. The socks, they do nothing. The footholds dig painfully on my tender non-mountain goat feet. Whatever, just let go and let all the foam cubes catch you. No biggie, right? Only for the fact that no matter what you do, your footas will not land on the upper layers of the pit, like the damn kids, who are at best 100 pounds or less. No bruh, you will F*King sink like the sack of SH*TUR. And here is another surprise. One thing all the vids on Whitey about parkour/free runners, whatever the F*CK they call themselves, don't mention when they do their stunts and land on the oh so fun pits of cubed foam. Them cubes are nasty AF. I used to think that ball pits were bad. See, the thing is, ball pits are non-porous, impermeable entities. Hell, some of the better kids' attractions have the means to clean them up regularly. Foam pits are gross. Imagine a cheap dishwashing sponge, but instead of getting moldy from water, they get greasy from human sweat and skin oils. Also, rather than replacing these open-cell foam cubes as they get grungy and their 90-degree edges rub on each other, they are just left there to continue to erode and fall apart, while they just chuck in new cubes periodically. You can tell too. How? Oh dear reader, it takes but a cursory glance to notice. Everything that has been there for a while is a little yellowish compared to the newer stuff. Additionally, the edges and corners on the new ones are pristine. And why did I mention to erode? Because those pieces of crap create a bunch of little foam crumbs that get on your skin, because of course you're sweaty, your hair, or sweaty as scalp if you are clean shaven like me, and worse yet, in your eyes. I had to stop trying to get myself out of this thing, because I had one of them go into my right eye and burn like Satan's own piss. So now you are stuck in a nasty pit, with foam cubes that insulate you and make you sweat even more, so your skin feels like it is covered with sawdust. If only it was sawdust. And then you realize F*CK, I can't get out. Because these things really don't give you much in the way of purchase. Look, I am a bit out of shape, but I am not a cripple. I partake in my fair share of horseplay, tree climbing and other assorted childish physical activity because it's fun. The pit of cubes thinks differently, and sets out to humiliate me and utterly crush whatever sense of physical aptitude I may think I have. So now you have to pick at the layer of cubes that is above your level of buoyancy, and try to shift a few pieces of this crap so they are now under your extremities and torso, and there is no good way to have any kind of form while you do this. Your joints and muscles just aren't provided with any stable or predictable planes upon which exert controlled leverage like with weightlifting, cycling, hell. Even swimming lets you have a more uniform power output progression. I heard joints pop and felt muscles and tendons stretch and contract in very uncomfortable ways, as I tried to come up and roll myself onto the surface layer, trying to distribute my weight as evenly as possible, and again, because the foam just yields and shifts under you, one moves very little and very slowly with a lot of effort as you try and make your way to the edge of the pit, to solid flooring and salvation. Think of the most reckless, ignorant, undisciplined workout you've ever performed as a dumbass kid when you were going to live forever, and you healed up like Wolverine, with no regard for how you would feel the next day. Or 5, the thing is, you are no longer any of those things. You are an adult, a rigid, ungainly giant trying to dwell in world designed for bones still flexible, and joints practically just out of the showroom floor. As I made it to the edge and hauled my malodorous carcass out, I find myself yet again trying to catch my breath while the boy patiently waits. As patiently as a 7-year-old can while pulling on your hand to help you get up. If he'd been able to drag me, I'd let him. One other thing to try, let's go do the basketball trampoline thing. That should be okay, right? One long, uninterrupted trampoline that gives you a decent amount of room and predictability on your bounces, right? That shouldn't be too rough, right? It would, if you didn't try to shoot or dunk the ball, because attempting either of those things will F*CK up the trajectory and form of your descent in such a way that upon landing you get the unenjoyable sensation that your knees are going to shoot up and stab your kidneys, much to the kid's amusement at all of daddy's hapless arm flailing in guttural omphing upon landing. I was ever so grateful that the little terror was still tired from the 2 hours he'd done all of this on Saturday, so that at the end of hour 1 on Sunday, he just wanted to go home for lunch. Today, it has been 5 days since these events took place. I've only now mostly regained feeling on my left elbow joint. My lower back is finally not creaking every time I get up from my chair. The boy wants to go back and has been pitching me the idea the whole week. I have remained non-committal, secretly scrambling for another activity, something that is enough of a novelty to excuse us from this chamber of torture.